Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Contest of Speed interview. Well, number 2 now, actually. So today I have my interviewer, Limmy, who's going to be assisting me in interviewing, our EU3 drive from last night. Limmy, take it away.
Thank you, sir. Welcome along, everybody. A COS podcast. I'm so happy that Muzza and Danielle have come up with this idea. I'm very happy he got in contact and asked me to help. And the guy, I couldn't be doing it with a better guy, Muzza, but also a better interviewee in my sidekick commentator for EU1. I know a lot about him for the commentary side, but I want to know more about him from the racing side. So, JP, welcome to the podcast, and I hope you will enjoy it as much as we do. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm fantastic, to be honest. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for selecting me as one of the first chosen few. Looking forward to it.
Good man. So we have a kind of not a script, but something we want to base off the whole way through. Me and Muzza have talked about this before, but of course we will pick up points from JP and dive into both sections when we can. So the first topic, Muzza, is just very simply about last night. It was an excellent race from EU3 drivers, but especially you, Jack. You was 19th at Lights Out, and you ended the race in 4th. And we know Hungary is not a track but is known for overtaking. So what satisfaction can you take from that performance on a difficult track and given the difficulty of the EU3 championship?
It's really competitive championship. So, when you're starting that far back, you're kind of thinking, okay, well, we'll do a bit on the strategy and see if we can get maybe a sort of a 7th or an 8th place as a sort of maximum. I was helped out at the start. I think there was a couple of issues with a couple of cars ahead where they got a little bit into trouble. But my first lap itself, even without that, was I thought really, really good. I gained 8 places in the end. I think there's a little clip of most of them, to be honest. And from there, it was satisfactory because, like you say, it is a difficult track to overtake on. It's not an easy place to get your business done. I was helped out by my setup a little bit. I ran slightly lower downforce than the cars around me because I knew I'd be doing some overtaking. I didn't think I'd be doing it from 19th, I've got to be honest. But overall, really satisfactory. You can't really ask for much more than that from P19 on the grid.
I just need to jump in and say there, sorry, Limmy, I need to jump in and say you picked a word and it's really it's niggling me. You said satisfactory. I see that performance as unreal. I don't put that performance in satisfactory. Are you down talking yourself? You're downplaying yourself here a little bit because, yes, I know certain tracks you can easily, in under certain circumstances, come from P19 to P4, but I don't think there was one safety car last night. I think there was one VSE maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Satisfactory seems a massive down talk of what you actually achieved last night. I just want you to kind of open up on that a bit for me.
So, I mean, it's mostly the start, to be honest. Without the start, I wouldn't have gained as many places as I had. I sort of picked a line, got past a couple of people who were starting on hard tires who had a difficult start. And then, you put yourself sort of in the safest space possible. You sort of look at it in a split second, decide, right, here's where I'm going to go. And then you just you're always watching sort of 20, 30 meters ahead as opposed to where you are straight away. If you do that, then you give yourself half a chance to avoid anything that's going on and pick your way through. I mean, I executed the strategy really well. I didn't have the pace of the 4 cars, really, if you count Hersey, who were ahead of me all race. And with the wings and the downforce I was running sort of 4.8, whereas people were running sort of 6.10, 7.11. And that meant that I had a bit of an advantage on the straight, which, I mean, there was a couple of times with Steve and with yourself, Muzza, where maybe if I was running a bit higher, then I wouldn't have got past you and wouldn't have cleared off. I think that gave me sort of 5, 6, 7 or 8 seconds.
Yeah.
And then, it got me that bit more air, I mean, bit clearer air, and really, made the race for me, really, to be honest. Once you get into that sort of the last third of the race, it's about sort of settling down, keeping yourself out of trouble, keeping it all pointing in the right direction and seeing what happens. But from early on, I knew it was going to be as long as I did my part and kept my end of the bargain, would be a really, really good race. And a bit of a recovery job, really, which I shouldn't have had done. I should have been sort of in sort of the top 12, 13, but I messed up, and I feel I've rescued it really well.
Yeah, I think 100% agree. I think it was one heck of a rescue mission, and you pulled it off. I think I'm just looking at the report now, and 23 overtakes. Now I know the TAS system will pick up overtakes in the pit lane, but let's not take anything away from that. 23 overtakes around Hungary, mate. I mean, something that we always have a discussion about. I know we always have a little bit of banter, not just myself and yourself there, JP, but a lot of the other guys as well, is your low downforce setups that you are infamous for.
The 1-2
wings. Yeah, I mean, look, I've never known anyone go, to Monaco and run 1-1. It's always 11-11. No, on a serious note though, but I mean, how does that work for you? I mean, look, I'm not, I'll say ballsy enough to run that lower downforce track around Hungary. I just personally feel I would lose so much time in, say, Sector 2, Sector 3. How do you cope with the low downforce, in such tracks like Hungary, where Sector 2 and Sector 3 can play such a big part in getting up close to, a driver in front to attack them on the straight? Tell me a little bit about that, because I am intrigued. I'm sure the viewers are as well.
If you're quicker, then you can work an angle regardless of what you've got. If you've, if you just inherently got quicker pace or more pace, then you can work an angle, especially in the third sector, because through the final corner, there's 2 or 3 lines you can run on. So as long as you get that right, then you leave yourself with half a chance. Normally, if I was to run with the same wings or similar wings everybody else did, around half the track you go to, I'd be probably 7th or 8th or 9th or 10th most of the time. So at that point, you think, well, okay, can I take a gamble? Can I maybe compromise by qualifying a little bit for a better race, and see how it pans out? I'm a driver that likes a bit more understeer than oversteer anyway. So obviously with DRS, your rear wing's stalled when you are overtaking, so it's about your front end. Can your front is your front end enough to be able to turn around the corners and go around the corners, but not too much to sort of stump me in either, keeping cars behind or going past. So it works quite well.
What wings did you run in Hungary, Jack?
Balance over outright pace.
What wings did you? Sorry, what wings did you run in Hungary this week?
4.8.
4.8. See, that's not too bad, Muzzer, because I know a lot of people run 6.10. Which, of course, if you balance the 2 out, 2 plus, and 2 back on the rear, that's exactly the same. 4.8, 6.10. So not too different there, Jack, from the other people.
The difference is quite stark when you're in there. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's 2, 3, 4 miles an hour potentially, and that's all you need. I mean, I wasn't really. I was only half alongside Muzzle when I made the move, and it was just because the overspeed I had, and it was the same with Steve. I just had a little bit of an overspeed, but I had enough confidence on myself in the brakes to be able to get it done. So if I hadn't have done that, even with sort of 6.10, it can make quite a difference.
So if you're taking sorry, Muzzer, was you about to?
No, sorry, mate. Go on, crack on.
If you're running 4.8 wings for Hungary, Jack, what were you running for Spa last week? Because we know 78% of the lap distance is full power.
2.6, and then 3.6.
2.6 and 3.6. So that's that's for the pure speed, isn't it? And did you feel that helped you around Spa?
Apart from when I went off at Pouon, but that's my own fault. The ED race kind of messed myself up, but I mean, there was never anything more than 4th or 5th for me at Spa in the EU3 race. So qualified harder than I was expecting there. And again, much like Hungary, everything paid off. It was a bit more of a patient one. Spa, there wasn't really an awful lot to do. It was more about managing things. It was certainly not quite the headline grabber that Hungary was. But it was just all about comfort, really.
Just remind me again, sorry, JP, where did you finish at Spa in EU3?
So in the EU3 race, I think I was 4th, and then another 4th place here. And then in the ED, I think ended up 7th or something like that.
I think, in all honesty, I think, you know, in terms of obviously what we've discussed, I mean, we've talked a lot about the performance around Hungary, and I think to summarise, let me know if you agree with this statement, but I think it's safe to say that, and I'm going to go into what you sent Danielle, our social media lead at the start of the season. I'm going to come back to that shortly, but I think based on what you did actually tell her at the start of the season, I think it'd be safe to say you're exceeding expectations based on your own expectations on the first kind of the current tracks there. Would that be a safe statement to make?
Just about, yeah. I think I would probably say that I was expecting a good result in Hungary. I wasn't quite expecting to do much at Spa, it's got to be said. A couple of drivers have ran into trouble. I tend to not run into trouble, so that's helped. And it's just then about consistency. Can you keep sort of 5th, 6th? And can you keep sort of, I'm not going to say putting the pressure on to win the championship. I won't win the championship, but you know, keep sort of picking up pieces where others falter, and then sort of picking up points for the team as well, because obviously we've got an overall constructor series, and every point's vital.
Have you got that paragraph that JP sent you? I've just been wary of time. If you've got that to hand, I'd like that read out.
Yeah, certainly. So this was the statement that you sent to our social media head before Lights Out at Spa. So we discussed a little bit about your ambitions, goals, obviously rivalries, which we're going to touch upon shortly as well. But there's a friendly rivalry with JSAC. We always have some really good battles on track, but never hit each other. So it's good competitive rivalry between the pair of us. That's kind of your sole rivalry at the moment. Now, in terms of hopes of the season, I'm looking to build on the podiums from last season. I don't think I'll win the championship. There's 2 or 3 that would be disappointed if they were near me, but I'm looking to be at the sharp end and consistently picking up good points and scraps when the quicker drivers falter. Certainly, I'm looking to be at the higher end of the championship, was what you sent to our head of social media before the lights went out for Spa.
And that's perfect so far. I mean, he's picked up 12 points and 12 points. Of course, an average of 12, which is great. Your rival with JSAC. Now, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but I got a message off JSAC saying because of his connection, he's had to step away from Kozjak.
Yeah, it's a shame. You know,
he's a good driver.
As I said, one of the people that I've had a big, you know, a good friendly rivalry with. You know, we've always ended up on the same part of track. There's always been that respect there because, you know, we've managed to go side by side at places you shouldn't go side by side and not have anyone come to blows. And, you know, sometimes he's won, sometimes I've won. Obviously, with him not racing now, there's a couple of other rivalries, possibly with Dan in the Alpha. I know you're probably going to interview him very shortly. So I'd say that there's a sort of a competitive rivalry there. Not anything sort of, you know, personal because, you know, we get on quite well, but and we're both hard racers. I know Connell, I think you mentioned Connell listed me as a direct rival. I think you're being very kind on himself. I think he'll be further ahead than I am. But, you know, we've raced together now for a long time, so there is that.
Jack, what causes rivalries? Because I believe it's not always about pace, is it? Sometimes it's maybe if a driver, maybe you finish next to each other for one race, and then that carries over. What causes a rivalry? Like, for example, you and Dan. What has instigated that mini rivalry in EU3?
I mean, often we have had quite a few battles on the track through the months and years. So there's that. I mean, off the track, you know, we're sort of in a similar group, so you know, when sort of similar lobbies and all that. So there's a little bit there. It's not. I know when some people say rivalry, they mean it's sort of fierce or sort of, you know, a bit sort of animosity. There's certainly none of that there. It's just about, you know, it's a competitive rivalry, and you know, often we've ended up on the same bit of track. So that's just what for me creates a rivalry. It's just, do you end up on something attractive? How well do you get on with that person out of cards or out of the league, and whether you do have consistent battles, which on occasions we have had.
I think just kind of going back onto what Lemmy said, as a driver myself, and you probably agree with this, and I think you touched upon it pretty much anyway, but I think within the COS community, and it may be the same for a lot of other communities around the world as well, but I think especially for the COS community, there is a lot of banter, a lot of friendships, even for people who've never spoken before and they're brand new to it. Bonds, relationships, friendships, they build extremely quickly here. As I say, I've been a part of a group with lobbies, etc., for quite a long time now, since day one of joining. And you automatically make him your rival. I think that's what it is. I think you automatically become a rival because it's more for banter purposes. Yes,
you and I
you will
to each other, to be honest, don't we? When we're in the in chat or in party, we we were always.
That's it. That's exactly it. And that's exactly it. And I think at the moment, unfortunately, I can't be a part of any rivalry because my only rival at the moment, personally, is myself. I've got to battle myself before battling anyone else. But no, look, I think it is great to see, and I think obviously now that you've brought, obviously I think by the sounds of it that you've accepted Connell's invite for rivalry. I'll be keeping a close eye on that one. I still do think Connell's prone to a mistake. I think he'll accept that on some tracks. He's already said in his interview he has got weaknesses at some tracks, and I know you said that there is maybe a bit of a different level there, but you know what? Over the course of the season, it could be a lot closer than you think. So I'm going to be keeping a keen eye on that one. As for Dan, you know yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate, go on.
I was just going to say, with Connell, he does things a lot more on instinct, whereas I think he'll be more than happy for me to sort of say this. I'd take a little bit of a step back and just sort of be a bit more methodical about it. I don't think there's any right or wrong way, but Connell acts a lot on instinct and is a bit more aggressive in terms of his racecraft, which has come on in leaps and bounds. And in terms of strategy, I mean, he took a big old gamble at Spa. And okay, that didn't work out. We still got good points, but he's always willing to try and do something a bit different. And so there's two sort of contrasting styles there.
Agreed. Okay. Off the back of the rival discussion that we're having at the moment, I want you to give me some insight onto. I want to do a bit of a head-to-head here. Tell me who do you think you're going to finish ahead of at Monaco next week? Where's your goals for Monaco next week? Is it a strong track for yourself, first of all?
Yeah, it's a decent track. It's about staying out of trouble. I think it was fifth or sixth last year.
Right. I did some research. He was actually fourth with no penalties.
Fair enough.
Well, there you go. And that's why Lim is here.
My next question was, can you do that again?
So, Limmy knows more about me than I do. So that's how closely we've been working together. So it's just going to be more of the same. It's if we can break into the podium, we'll try and win the race, then fantastic. But that would require a couple of people to falter. I think I'll probably, to be honest, Muzzer, I think you're due a better race. I know you've come up from EU4. You had a bit of bad luck last. I would suggest that you might be someone to watch, certainly for some decent points next week.
So we got a rivalry between these two people in the podcast. I like it.
Yeah. My goal is you've jinxed me now. You've jinxed me now. So there's my DNF for next week. Cheers, JPrentice.
Well, at least I've given you an excuse. I've given you an excuse now, haven't I? So really, I'm doing you a favour.
I'll take that, pal.
What I would say is that we don't need to discuss Monaco too much in terms of the track. That's what the commentators do per week, and we know what Monaco is and we know what it's about. I just want to mention, Jack, your quali in Hungary wasn't good. I'm not quite sure what happened to you, but we do know that Monaco is absolutely, it's crucial that you qualify as high as you can. What are you going to do? Whether be more cautious or just be more accurate, what are you going to do in Monaco to ensure that you get the place that you need to do well?
Well, last season I think I was fifth or sixth on the grid or something like that. So, there's not much that needs changing. I just need to not try and reinvent the wheel, which I did last night. I tried to be a bit clever, messed up my mediums run, and then messed up my best softs run. So I put in a banker with and sandbags because I expected people to be more on medium tires, or certainly not be as aggressive as they were in terms of strategy. And I just messed up. There's no rhyme or reason. I just got it wrong. So yeah, just don't do that. Just go sort of pedal to the metal. Not try and be careful. Not try and think about it. You don't need to think about it much at Monaco. And yeah, just really, just try and keep it simple.
Muzza, any?
For me, that's literally all my questions. I think
Oh, okay.
we've covered absolutely every angle. So unless Limmy, you've got something else.
What time are we on? Do you know?
We are on 2036.
20. Okay, cool. I've got like 3 bonus questions to ask, if that's all right.
No worries.
Fire away.
The question, Shaka, to allow you to be a bit, we know you're entertaining, but just open up a little bit, so people can maybe get to know you a little bit more in terms of how you're going to answer these questions. The first question is next year, Imola and Portimao. Just a really quick question on how do you think the tracks are going to fend, and do you like them or not?
I love Imola. I remember it from when I was watching growing up. And I think they used to go there until I was about 10 or something, and I always remember it being okay. It's a difficult track to pass on, but it was always a lot of fun. And so I can't wait to have that back in whatever guy. I mean, I know it's going to be different from when my childhood days and all that, and there's a couple of fewer braking zones, but no, I love Imola. So I don't care where I am at that particular track. When we move on to the next game, I don't care where I am. I think personally, Formula One needs to go to tracks like Imola. I think it's got a bit too sort of. I'm not going to use the word safe because you can never be too safe, but it's got a bit too sort of sanitized and too many runoff areas everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's too many tracks that don't really punish mistakes. So
yeah,
Imola and Portimao to an extent, welcome additions for me, and I think they should be replacing a few of the other new tracks that we've tried and will try this season and in the previous seasons.
Good stuff. And my final question is a question that I've been wanting to ask you for a long time, but I never have, because I never. Well, I will know now what answer you're going to give, but it'll be interesting from my side to ask it as a final question on this podcast. You are an EU1 commentator with me. We've been doing it for quite a long time. I'm sure we both fully enjoy it. You've also been a racer, and you fully enjoy that, I'm sure. If you had to pick one to continue and one to end, what would you pick?
You put me on the spot here, haven't you? I love racing, to be honest. I've cut back on a couple of leagues, really, just to make sure I've got that fire still burns without burning myself out. I'm keeping cars, and we'll keep cars for a long, long time. I love commentating as well. I really enjoy how we do it. But if I had to say I'll be shot, well, I probably would drive, Limmy. So, you'd be more than welcome to commentate on me. I'm sure that provides entertainment, and you'd be more than welcome to interview me. But I really enjoy commentary. I think it comes out as well in the commentaries that we do, and the way we bounce off of one another.
Yeah.
But you always want to. We're racers at heart, where I am certainly. So, there's that competitive edge that would just swing it for me, to be perfectly honest.
Well, at least he's honest. He's gonna throw me away and race in a car.
Sorry, Limmy, but you put me in the position.
Hey, we've had our fun. Before I let Muzza do the outro, I'd like to give you an opportunity, Jack, to say anything you want. Of course, we're going to let you come back for another podcast in the future, I'm sure. Anything you want to say, anything about EU3, anything about cars, your rivals, anything, say it now.
With regards to the rivals, the ones that I've listed I respect immensely on the track. That won't change. It's certainly not a personal rivalry. It's just a competitive rivalry. So I really enjoy racing those guys, and we'll continue to do so. EU3 is probably, for me anyway, the tightest championship. there's 4 or 5 guys who are probably going to be in with a shout of winning the championship this year. I think, Raggy and Joel have come up from EU4 and done really well. You've got Charlie returning to form, Connell back to form, and Hergé's really, really done a lot of work over the off-season. And then even further back, there's always battles. I think Thomas sums it up well when he just says, it's it's his favourite tier, because it is just, some races can be absolutely crazy, and rarely, to be honest, because of poor quality. It's most of the racing is of a really good quality, and I think it's entertaining. So no, it's a fantastic tier to be a part of.
Brilliant.
Fantastic comment, mate. Look, really, really appreciate the time that you've taken to do this interview this evening. Really do. A cracking interview at that as well. I'm sure the guys who will listen to this are going to be straight onto the message center later on the PlayStations to give you some grief, because that's how it works. You know the score.
Expected.
Yeah, you know it is. But look, I want to say thank you to Limmy for supporting me with this and taking lead in certain areas. And thank you to Mr. Prentice for joining us. And thank you to all our listeners. It is going to be coming back again. We've got another interview shortly after this one and many, many more to come. So keep an eye out on them, and they will be going to social media as well. So thank you very much, guys. Have a great evening and enjoy Tier 2 tonight.
Yes, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.